we're on stolen land, so let's all acknowledge that. And so first off, I'm going to be introducing Dean Martin Austin, the use they them pronouns. They're going to be offering a personal account about their gender awakening and how it has influenced them. So if we could all give them a hand as they come to get forward.
Hi, my name is Dean Martin Austin. I am a 37-year-old non-binary writer and comedian and professional and parent and partner. And until about 3 years ago and considerable therapy, I was also depressed and suicidal. And I've cried and I've gone to bed hoping to never wake up. And I've written poems and letters and songs to try to speak to my experience. I've screamed in empty rooms, drunk in the middle of the night, and I've banged my head against floors, trying to figure out what was wrong with me. I've prayed for days without eating or drinking, hoping that something would make the pain go away. I've burned all of my baby photos. I've stopped speaking to my family. I've changed my name. I've changed my face. I've changed my wardrobe 1,000,000 times, hoping that my body would change. And one day I saw a name. I saw a name that made sense. That name was non-binary. It said I didn't have to be a boy. I didn't have to be a girl anymore. I could exist. I was not the problem anymore. For 3 years, I have existed and have not been the problem. I have been hurt. I have been beaten. I have thought I was broken, but I will not be erased.
One second. All right.
That was really powerful, damn. I'd be in tears. Now I will be introducing Mira. They use he, they pronouns, and they're going to be speaking about mental health in the trans community. So general trigger warning, but they're a very great comrade, and I'm very excited to hear them speak. So please give them a round of applause as they make their way up here.
Microphone. Oh, like that. Okay. My name is Mira Meadows. I'm 28 years old. I'm queer. I'm a Taurus. I'm a cat parent, and I am transgender. I'd like to give everyone listening a heads up that I'm going to be speaking, at least in part, on a painful and deeply personal topic: suicide. In 2015, a coalition of groups, including Transgender Law Center and National Center for Gender Equality, put out a report called Understanding Issues Facing Transgender Americans. I'd like to share a couple of excerpts. Transgender youth can face a lack of support from their parents, often due to devastating consequences, such as dramatically increased rates of homelessness and attempted suicide. Some families subject children to harmful conversion therapy to attempt to change a youth's gender identity. Family acceptance is crucial to the health and well-being of LGBT youth. Positive acceptance and understanding can lower risks for negative outcomes. Unfortunately, one report found that only 43% of responding gender non-conforming youth reported having an adult in their family that they could turn to. And only 27% reported that their families were very accepting of LGBT people in general. Another bit from the same report states 41% of respondents to the National suicide. This compares to 1.6% of all Americans who have reported attempting suicide. Respondents who were bullied, harassed, assaulted, or expelled because they were transgender or gender nonconforming in school at any school level reported elevated levels of suicide attempts, 51% of respondents. Among youth, transgender youth are 2 to 3 times more at risk for depression, anxiety disorders, suicidal ideation, suicide attempt, self-harm without lethal intent, and both inpatient and outpatient mental health treatment. Depressing stuff, right? Now I want everyone to take a deep breath. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. You are alive. You are still fighting, and we are all making each other so very proud. The world, and especially this administration, tries so hard to tear us down. Not all of us do make it out alive. I want to tell you about my fiance. Her name is Avery Tally Samantha Meadows. She was born June 23rd, 1993. She has long red hair and bright green eyes, and her hugs can make you forget that anything else is happening outside of that moment of being held in her arms. Her laugh is like electricity, and her voice is smooth river rocks. Her humor and wit can light up a room, and she wears this philosophy body lotion that smells like lilacs. She is a transgender woman, and she is one of the loves of my life. We spent a year and a half in Utah together before moving to Portland to try to escape the woes of a red state. But society is deeply broken wherever we go. On March 11th, 2018, my love lost her long battle with trauma and depression and completed suicide. Her family never gave her an obituary, which I suppose is better than if it had been under her dead name. Of course I checked. The way that so many trans folks are misgendered by their supposed loved ones even in death. She had 3 nieces that she loved more than anything. When she came out to her conservative Mormon sister, she was informed that she could no longer be in her nieces' lives. She always used to tell me that she would have let them call her uncle, that she would have done anything just to be treated as their family. She was punished in such a cruel way simply for being her true self. I think of every instance of transphobia I personally witnessed being directed at her, and all the stories she told me from long before we met. And I think of the way she could be cold and downright mean in her own right, because sadly, when people have been so abused, sometimes they lash out. But also, the way that she was soft and fragile as a rose, and every single time broke her down a little more, every instance an ever-increasing weight on tired shoulders, and one day she snapped apart. My own gender identity has been a long road for me to walk on, and in ways I think she knew before I did. I tried so hard for so long to pretend I was just a cis woman who was a really, really good ally. I actually came out as gender fluid in 2016, but imposter syndrome started kicking my ass since everyone still just saw me as a woman, and I didn't have the energy to correct each and every one, so I went back into the closet save for close friends. When I moved to Oregon, I joined an all-trans a cappella group called Key of Q, and with them I finally found a sense of acceptance and community, a feeling that I was finally home. When she died, I came out. She had known for a long time, and it hurt too much on top of all of the other pain to keep hiding, to keep getting all of these "so much love to you, girl, you're like a sister to me," etc. from well-intentioned, generally cis friends and family. I am still discovering so much about myself, but I am proud to say I am gender fluid, transmasculine, and proud. When she died, Key of Q, my personal trans community, was there to bake me rainbow cupcakes on my birthday, to be supportive and loving when I broke down crying, to hold my hands and my heart, and to let me know I was never alone and that she would never, ever be forgotten. Avy didn't have much community of her own. I can't speak to why it was so difficult for her to find that community, but I know that Key of Q loved her very much. We sing a song called Dream a Little Dream of Me, and it's dedicated to her every time. Stars fading, but I linger on, dear, still craving your kiss. I'm longing to linger till dawn, dear, just saying this. I miss her. I miss every trans sibling who went before me, everyone who said goodbye too soon, everyone I will never have a chance to meet and know and love. I struggle now with my own suicidality. We live in a hard, harsh world, especially for anyone society perceives as different, because of course, different is just a code for abomination in their eyes. But our differences are what makes us beautiful. our bodies so unique and individual, conforming not to strict expectations of gender expression, but instead beautiful hand-painted canvases. Our minds full of experiences that cross the bounds of gender and sexuality and life and love. We laugh and roll our eyes, or even get downright angered when well-meaning cis allies comment on how brave we must be. But I think we can stand to say it to each other far more often, because we are. We are brave warriors staying alive despite every transphobe, homophobe, bigot, piece of shit, so-called president included, who try to legislate and hate us out of existence. We're here, we're queer, we're fabulous, don't fuck with us! We're fabulous, don't fuck with us! We're fabulous, don't fuck with us! I want you to take a deep breath again now. Close your eyes. If you have your own queer family who are cheering you from the great beyond, say their names. Avery, Telly, Samantha, Meadows. Let the tears you shed be your battle cry to hold your comrades close, love deeply, and stick together. We carry the dead with us like weights on our already burdened shoulders, hoping for a future in which the numbers of the living will feel far more robust and our weights less heavy, and striving to live in the names of all of those who have lost their battles. We will win this war together. We won't be erased! We won't be erased! We won't be erased! Thank you.
Oh, there's this now? Oh.
Oh, yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you. All right. That was very moving, and I deeply hold the memory of all our trans siblings we have lost dear. And now we are having Tara speak, a longtime Portland resident, with speaking on terms of activism and labor activism. So can we give them a round of applause as they come forward?
Good evening, Portland. It is inspiring to see you all here. I've lived in this city 2.5 decades. 2.5 decades I've watched the city of Portland grow and change, and in some cases, even improve. I knew that this was a city where I could be safe, and that someday I would let myself come out after I had surrounded myself with a community. I had a speech prepared tonight, and I'm actually dropping a vast majority of it because it doesn't really matter talking about the national situation and this occupier of the White House in our nation's capital. He doesn't matter. We matter. Our communities matter. Our city matters. Our friendship and our families, our chosen families, these are the things that matter. Organizing and helping our communities matters. On October 21st, the president decided that he wanted to make sure that his base knew how to behave. He may or he may not be able to follow through on the contents of that memo, but that's not the point. The point is that he shouted out to his base marching orders. It was coded language, but we all know exactly what was said. Our time is now. We need to organize our communities. I feel we need to stand together as often as possible, as many times as possible, and as loudly as possible. Yeah. not going to go away. We have been here thousands of years. This is not a matter that is up for debate. We deserve to exist, and we will continue to thrive and march into the future together.
Yes.
It is hard to speak up, but it has to be done. I have spoken up so many times in my workplace. I have spoken up on behalf of my friends and my family when they are not defending themselves. We have to be strong for each other. We have to keep going forward, and we will win the day. Despite what local and national politicians may or may not choose to try to do with regards to our ability to speak up, is beside the point. We are here, and we will continue to be here, and I am heartened to see that you are all here. Now is a time for organization. We need to organize our communities, our workplaces, stand together, because that is where the power is. The power is not in authority figures dictating down to us what we are and are not allowed to do. That is up for us to decide, and we will decide that together.
Thank you. Give me 1 second, folks. I lost the list. I'm queer, I'm here, and I'm a mess. But I love you guys. Alright, so we're gonna talk with Nico. Okay, cool. Nico uses they, them pronouns. They're going to be talking about their experiences being disabled, trans, black, and Latinx, and how class war can unite us against capitalism.
Hey everybody, you look beautiful. Thank you so much for being here. Let's do a little chant. Trans power. 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 That's right. Thank you so much for being here. We are in occupied land here in Portland, Oregon, and I am so excited to see all of you. There's so many things on my mind right now, and right now I am just struck by the beauty of all of you. We are a community of so many people from so many different places, and we are tough as nails. Tough as nails, okay? So many of us, and we've heard stories, right? So many of us have been in mental institutions. So many of us have attempted suicide. So many of us have been through so many meds and doctor's offices and awful institutions, police brutality, all sorts of things. You name it. We've been through our families turning their backs on us. We've been living on the streets. We've been through all sorts of hell that no human being should endure. And yet here we are. Here we are. Together in the middle of 2018, while we have this shitstorm that's happening in the White House and all of these people that come into this city and try to start fights with us all the time, and somehow we're still here, right? We're still here. We're here, we're queer, we're born every day, and we will be here forever. 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 Every day, we are born every day. And we will be here forever. We have the right to do this assembly. We won a big time this week. Having the right to protest and assemble here and not be attacked by the police in the state. Who did that? You did that. We did that together. We have so much more work to do, and I know for so many of us, just getting out of bed, if we have beds, right? Just getting out every day and getting into the world and just getting fed and doing anything is hard enough. And so I don't want to just give you a laundry list of all the things that you need to add to your list, okay? Because I already know our lives are hard enough, believe me. I do want to give a little push though. I want to bring up a term. Many of you probably have heard it. It's called implicit bias. You get head shaking, you know this term, implicit bias. It talks about subconscious things that we participate in that we don't even realize that we're doing because we get caught in the drift of what's happening around us. It's like when we go to the ocean and you put your stuff down and then you get in the water and then you're out there swimming for a while and you look and your stuff's all the way over there. We get caught in that drift. So we understand what that's like as trans people. I want to challenge you to start thinking about what that's like for people with disabilities. Okay, we think about the housing crisis. We think about how hard, thank you. We think about how hard it is to find a place to live. Now think about if you had to find a place to live that's wheelchair accessible. Think about if you had to find a place to live on no money. All you got is food stamps, or maybe you're on Social Security. You're living on $600 or $700 a month, and you can't work. Forget that, this breakneck capitalist speed that we're all supposed to be maintaining. It's a joke. Forget it. We can do better. We're here building community because we know that we can do something else. And we are doing something else. We're building community together. So think about how we can support each other in this. How can we include more people with disabilities? We're not just talking about people in wheelchairs, because there's a lot of people that you can't see their disabilities, right? So having that patience, right? Thank you. Having that patience for one another. Maybe somebody can't understand what you're saying. They don't process things the same way. Or maybe somebody's got a whole bunch of trauma because they've been beat up by cops in their family their whole lives. So having that patience with each other, because we got each other, and that's all we got. We're chosen family, right? We got each other, so let's stick together and figure out how we can call each other out gently, right? And say, hey, what about so-and-so, right? And how we can call each other out and call each other in. Who else do we have to think about with implicit bias? People of color, especially people of color with dark skin, okay? Really, really important. Really, really important. Thank you. Thank you for clapping over there. Thank you. We think about indigenous people. All right, I'm gonna trigger warning. I'm gonna lay down some numbers here. 100 million indigenous people were murdered on this land when colonizers came here. 52 million African people murdered in the transatlantic slave trade. We're still dealing with the repercussions of this. When we're organizing, we got to think about how we can bring in the people who are, we look at the ladder of oppression, and none of us are getting above a certain rung on that ladder, right? We're all struggling. We're gender minorities, we're struggling. How do we look down to the people who are struggling even harder than we are? If I have to take my shirt off and turn it into a rope and pull somebody up with me, that's what I'm going to do. So, that being said, I'm gonna leave you with one last thing. My father was a pilot, and so I grew up on planes a lot when I was a little kid. And so we always talked about oxygen masks falling down. And when your oxygen mask falls down, you got to put your oxygen mask on first. Because if you put your oxygen mask on the child or the person that can't use their hands next to you, they can't help you put your mask on. So what you got to do is we got to find that balance, right, of taking care of ourselves and doing what we need to do to take care of ourselves, and then looking for our comrades right after that and helping them get what they need too. All right. Thank you so much for being here. I love you. Thank you. Hey, can we give it up for the ASL folks doing interpreting too? I just want to say that I do what I call revolutionary reform work, and that means that sometimes I'm sitting down with politicians and institutions and things like that, because I can't throw bricks. I physically can't throw bricks. So my brick is sitting in through boring meetings and pushing for housing and things like that and healthcare. And I can tell you that I'm sitting in senators' offices and representative offices and press conferences and stuff like that, and they don't bring interpreters in. And one of the things that we really do right in our communities is we care about this. And we are interrupting those implicit biases by having people with disabilities speaking up here and having interpreters, and we're really doing some things right. Let's keep it going. Thank you.
Hello. So technical difficulties. We have a speaker out there who needs to speak, who is not Alyssa, who needs to speak, and we have forgotten your name. So if you could come up, you're wearing a very, very nice yarmulke. If you could come up, that would be really great. Remind me of your name and pronouns. All right. Davina, she, her, is going to be speaking, and she is going to be speaking. It looks really cool, so we're going to hand the mic over to her.
So my name's Davina Bookbinder. I'm 32. I'm poly. I'm queer. I suffer from borderline personality disorder. I'm fierce. I'm badass. And I'm trans. Oh, I'm also studying to be a rabbi. And I have a little story to tell you. What does it take to make a flower grow? Now, if you ask any of these lovely people walking by on the street that question, assuming that they don't completely dismiss you as a crazy person like myself, it takes sunshine, food, and water, they would tell you. You see, you have to pay attention to that plant. You need to provide it with warmth and with sustenance. You have to give it love and support. You have to say it looks pretty. You have to tell it totally looks good in that dress and it absolutely presents as female. I'm sorry, what was the question? Now, you see, we tend to live in a lovely bubble of positive encouragement and reinforcement. We try to find really nice things to say about our fellow humans. We support them in their endeavors. We encourage them to live as their true, authentic selves. You do you. Goddamn right. Now that's nice and all, and it totes feels good, but there's a little trick, you see. I will gladly share this horticultural secret with you. You see, a good garden needs crap to grow. Now, I am not talking my adorable beagle poops a little in the backyard and that droplet of love helps my garden grow crap. Oh no. I mean the toxic, putrid, wretched, decaying, disgusting mounds of cow, let's say bull, crap that you pick up at your local Home Depot, organic farm, or news media outlet. You see, we forget that sometimes in our supportive, loving bubble. Hell, I forget that sometimes, but I am not standing up here looking fine as hell with my hardware upgrades and my testosterone production facility permanently shuttered on sunshine and hugs alone. No, I've been tempered in crap. Raw sewage levels of crap. Now, thank goddess, hello. Now, thank goddess, I have not been physically assaulted yet. You see, I'm lucky in that regard, but 2018 is still young and we're looking to make this year a record. No, I get crapped on by the media, by so-called friends, by unsupportive family, by the government, by the 46% of people in Anchorage, Alaska who voted to ban me from using the correct freaking bathroom. By the 46% of Americans who don't think there should be laws to protect us. And by the almost, and this statistic blew my goddamn mind, by the almost 100 million Americans who do not believe that I and you and the 1.5 million other trans and non-binary folk actually exist, like we're some... Hello? There we go. Like we're some sort of goddamn fairy tale creatures. Now, this crap stings, and it smells, and it hurts if I touch it for too long. But it's also my fertilizer. Every article I read, every jackoff who says it's a choice, just makes me stronger. Now, this crap doesn't cause me to wilt or make me lose my leaves, but it fills me with burning rage. And that rage ignites my soul. And it stokes my passion and my fervor to spread every story about another trans murder which does not get covered. It pushes me to stand up when I do not want to and say I am trans. And it empowers me to talk way too much about my gone and you're damn right forgotten testicles. To shout that I am here, that we have rights and we are not going anywhere. However, if you only crap on a garden, what would happen? It would fall apart. It would wilt. It would cease to be. You need both. You need sunshine and hugs. You need love and support and acceptance and sustenance. You need life-giving water. So much freaking water, thank you, hormone therapy. My fellow trans girls know what I'm talking about. Now, I moved here last September because my previous place of residence, Los Angeles, is, well, the worst. I was out for about 6.5 months by then and on hormones for 4.5. And most of my clothes, when I still got here, were man clothes. Now, I wasn't living anywhere close to full-time yet. And when I got here, I viewed it as my chance to finally flourish. I donated all my man clothes to Goodwill with the exception of a comfy pair of jeans because, fuck, I want usable pockets every now and then. I went out, I got a new wardrobe. I was exclusively Davina, or V for short. I was woman, hear me roar, you sons of bitches, but I was still small. I was still fragile. I was beginning to bloom, but I wasn't full yet. I needed more love and support if I was to truly flourish. Well, cut to about 5 months later, and I was back in Los Angeles for a school retreat. And I decided to spend the Sabbath, as I am a Jew, leading up to it with my former Orthodox Jewish community. Now, that synagogue, while pretty pretty progressive in its own right, doesn't have any openly trans members that I'm aware of. And they have separate seating for men and women. Now, I had no idea what to expect. So Shabbat morning comes and I walk into synagogue with my friend. My heart is beating so fast and so hard, I was convinced it had turned into a cis male porn star. Services had already started. No one was in the lobby. I walk into the sanctuary and I sit down with my friend. And I try to start making my way through morning prayers, but I just can't concentrate. And then a friend of mine sits down next to me with the biggest smile on her face. "Hey, Davina," she whispers, because, services are happening. You're not supposed to talk. "It's so nice to see you here. How does it feel?" And it felt right. Now, I hate gender segregation, don't get me wrong. But if I'm going to be segregated by gender, damn sure I'm going to be on the women's side. And then another friend came by on the way to her seat and said, "So excited to see you." And one after another, women kept coming up to me to tell me how good it was to see me, how proud they were of me, how happy that I was finally living as me. I was looking for love and support, and I found it in droves. Now, eventually, I left. I went back to my friend's place. The sky, if you can picture it, was clear, and the sun was bright and warm on my face because January in Los Angeles. And I walked by a store display with one of those giant windows, and I saw my reflection. I saw her reflection, and I smiled. Being different is hard. Most of us want to fit in some way. Being accepted feels good. Many of us crave that acceptance. I know I certainly do. And there are days, though, when I hate this. When I hate being trans. When I just wish I were cis. That I didn't have to take hormones every single day for the rest of my life. That I didn't have to go through 2 surgeries and 1 more. That I didn't have to get facial electrolysis, which is not yet covered by the state of Oregon. That I didn't have to go through all of this crap. There are days when you can take isn't it so cool to have experienced 2 different perspectives on life? Or wow, you're so brave. And shove it, but not in the good way. There are days in the mirror there are days when I look in the mirror and I don't see her. I see him staring back at me. Eyes filled with shame and disappointment. It's not all rainbows and unicorns, and I'm so strong. And on those days, it's not through sheer force of will that keeps me going. I've been in the hospital for mental health. I've been suicidal. I've attempted. I've self-harmed. And what has gotten me through all of that? You. Because of you. Because of all of the people who showed up today. Because of all of the people online who send me heart emojis when I post about a bad day. Because of all of the people who, regardless of their gender identity, stand up and say that we deserve rights. Who say that we exist and that I belong. They give me hope. You give me hope. And right now, we are in need of hope more than ever. Because when you plant a garden, it takes time. and sweat and blood and tears. And there will be moments when you look at your garden and you can't possibly imagine that it's going to grow. But it will. You will. We all will. Just remember what it takes to make us grow. Love and support, a metric ton of water, a healthy dose of rage-inducing bullshit, and a dash of sunshine and hugs. And remember, in your darkest hours and minutes and days, that we're here, that we're queer, that we are fabulous, and not to fuck with you. Because we will not be erased.
Thank you so much, and thank you for putting up with the fact that we forgot your name. I still feel bad about that. Hi, I am Danny Henry. I use he and pronouns. I kind of wrote a speech, but I'm just going to talk for like a couple seconds, and then I'm going to play y'all some tunes on this ukulele. It's purple.